All right, guys. Again, thank you for being here. This is our Saturday class. We have this every 2 weeks, so bi-weekly. We're going to have a class going over either strategy, charting, the psychology behind trading. We just want to get together every couple weeks just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Today's session is going to be covering Tradingview charts, and it's really important, of course, because for me, I'm a chart trader. I'm a technical trader. I use the charts every single day. I use it in every decision I make when it comes to trading. I got into charting very early on in my career of trading, and I started out long trading, then I started swing trading, and then I started day trading from there. So it's been a whole process, right? But charting has always stayed the same. It's always secured my my feelings behind each one of these type of trades because I'm using technical analysis to be able to do that. We'll go over that. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to open up a new layout here. So let me go ahead and open a new tab. So you just have the new tab there and then create new layout. We'll go with that one. And it's just going to open up a chart. And this one, for whatever reason, is white. But we're going to go over this. What you're looking at here, guys, is just a very, very bright looking chart for me. I usually have my charts black. And we'll change the settings here. But this is a very, raw chart here. We're looking at candlesticks, green candles for bullish, red candles for bearish, and, down and up. Basically, in other words, we've got volume down here at the bottom. This is the only indicator that we have up top on the left. And we're looking at serve right now. We'll keep it on serve to make it really easy. First thing that you want to do is you're going to notice at the top here we've got our time frames, and you may not see all of these time frames at the top of yours. If you hit this down box or this down arrow, you can open this up and you can star each one of these, favorite each one of these time frames, and that's going to add it to this list. So if you have a time frame that you're looking for that's not up here, you can add it to that. So just hit the star and it will add it to this mix up at the top. So that's going to be our time frames up here. The time frame is really important, of course, as you guys know. I know a lot of you already know this, but some of our team members may not know this. The time frame is very important. So for me, I always trade on the 1 minute chart. I do reference the 5, 10, and daily charts as well. So 5 minute, 10 minute, and daily charts. Sometimes I'll look at other chart time frames as well, but typically I'm trading on a 1 minute chart. I'm going to get rid of the volume at the bottom down here. This is just volume bars, so very simple. And very easy to be able to see and say, okay, it's increasing in volume, it's decreasing volume. You can really see that with these volume candles here. I'm going to get rid of those for now. Just hit the remove up here, that little trash can. And now let's change the color of this chart because, as I mentioned, guys, I really prefer to have my charts dark. That's just a personal preference. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you guys how you want to have yours. And we'll change that. So we'll go up here into the settings, chart settings, and right there in canvas, you'll see the background solid white. Okay, so let's go ahead and change that to black. And again, change it to whatever you prefer. You can do this as a gradient color if you prefer to have that type of look to it, solid for that, and you can go with different colors. If you want to get crazy and have a yellow chart, if you want to have a green chart, you can do that. I don't really see the use for it for myself. I'm just going to keep it black like this. The watermark that you see is going to be the actual ticker. That's going to be on the chart. You don't have to have that. If you click this off, it will disappear. Now, you'll always see the ticker symbol at the top left, and you'll see it in the top left here as well, as long as you have that on your chart. So you don't need the watermark. I keep the watermark on my chart. I like to have it. I don't mind. It doesn't really get in my way too much, but if it is something that you just want to get off and keep it clean, you can do so. A lot of times I'm sharing my chart with our team as well, so I need to have the watermark on there. That way you guys are able to see that very easily and see exactly what ticker we're looking at. Trying to save time as much as possible. Scales, you can change the size of the scales. So that's going to be over here, I believe. So you can see that's like that. And we'll keep that back at 12. But you can change that to make that large or smaller if you prefer. And I don't have grid lines on mine. That's going to be this right here. I don't have grid lines. You can see that I have the opacity is all the way turned down on both of these. If you turn that up, you'll see that you have horizontal. Oh, these are, vertical lines here. And then you have the horizontal lines as well. So if you prefer to have that, you can have that. It's going to be half and whole dollar, half and whole dollar. We do speak about half and whole as, mental resistance levels and mental support levels. But for me, trading for so long, guys, I don't need this on my chart. And because we have so many other things going on, I want to have, for me, less is more. So I turn this down, the opacity, and that's how you can do that there. The crosshair is going to be exactly this, that you can see the mouse as I hover over, you can see that it has this crosshair. I've got it as a dotted line. If you have it as a solid line, you can see there's a difference there. Now it's a solid line. You can make it a thicker line if you prefer, like that. But I'll just keep mine as a dotted line. You can do, or a dash line, excuse me. And I'm good with that, again. You can change the color of it. You can do whatever you prefer. So really simple how to change the chart colors. Another thing here in the settings is going to be the pre-market and aftermarket. So this is going to be the aftermarket in blue. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. Here it is. So if you go to symbol, you'll see that we've got the pre and post-market hours background color. So that's going to be this color that you see here. This is going to be the aftermarket because we don't have a pre-market session yet because, of course, that's going to be on Monday. So I can turn this up or down, turn it up or down, right? You can change the colors. You can do whatever you prefer. Hit cancel there. Keep it blue for now. This is just how I have my chart. Again, this is more personal preference than it is something to, just follow along with what I'm doing. Do whatever you prefer, of course. So let's see if you want to set up multiple charts here. This is something that I like to do. So if you see my other setup here, you'll see this is my 4-square layout. I've got 4 squares here. I've got serve on all of these charts, but I've got a 1-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame, 10-minute time frame, and daily time frame. The way you can do that is you go up to this little box right here, select layout. And of course, I think that you have to have a premium membership to be able to do this. I'm not sure how many charts they allow you to have. I'm not sure how many I can have either. You could have all different styles of layout. So if you prefer to have, something like this, you can have that. So you can have multiple charts. You can have the same chart. You can do whatever. We'll do a 4-square layout to keep it very simple right now. Another simple layout would be a split there. So the benefit of this is there's a couple things that can benefit or you can benefit from this. Number one is you can have separate tickers on each one of these charts, so that way you can be, watching multiple charts at the same time if you prefer to do so, or you can be watching the same chart or the same, same ticker, but have different time frames. So you can analyze higher time frames while still focused in on your smaller time frame for trading. So we'll go to a 4-square layout here. So if I open this up, number 4-square layout. I like this layout myself. I think this is very clean, it's easy to use, and it's really simple. If you hit Alt or hold Alt and hit Enter on any one of these charts, it will blow the chart up. So if you go to this one here and you want to see, say this is a 15-minute chart for an example here, and we'll change it to a 5-minute chart for an example. So 5-minute chart, we'll turn this one to a 10-minute chart. So as you can see, I'm clicking up here and choosing which time frame I want for each chart. This one here will go with a daily time frame. And you can reset the chart. You can zoom in, zoom out. If you grab and click on the price scale here, you can shrink and this down, and you can zoom in just by scrolling in with your mouse. And of course, there is the little magnifying glass on the side here that you can say, okay, I want to zoom in on this specific area, and that's what I'm looking for. So you can do that with this here. From that, we're going to let's see, we can name this as well. Let's go ahead and name this. Rename example. We'll just call it example for this video. So example here, 4-square layout. Another thing you can do is when you click the select layout, guys, you can go down here to sync in layout. And there's some options that you have available to you. So if you sync the time, then all of the times will stay the same. If you sync the date range, they'll all stay the same. But we'll go with the symbol here. So let's go with the symbol and click that on. Now, what happens now is if I type any ticker in, so say we type in TSLA, all of the charts will change. If I go to, say I change this back and I say I don't want the symbol to sync, and I type in serve on the 5-minute chart, well, only the 5-minute chart will change. So you want to keep that in sync if you want to see those all the same. So I like to see those the same myself. So we keep that on the 1-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, and daily. So very simple. That's the settings there. We have other settings in here as well. You can change the colors of your candles. So if you don't want to see the green, you can change the body. You can change the border or the wick. You can do that right here in the settings. You can add a few different things here. You can change the time zone if you prefer. You can set your events if you want the events on here, which events you want to see on there. That's going to be down here at the bottom. So the events are going to be this little icon at the bottom. If you click that, you'll see these are the events, last updates. So that's going to be updates on the chart like that. And you can turn these off. You can turn them on. So if you go back to the settings, you can turn them on and off. You can go into the buy and sell. You can see your positions. This, of course, is going to be if you're in a position and if you have your broker linked with TradingView. I don't do that myself, guys. I'm considering getting back into it a little bit myself. I do trade with a hard stop during market hours, so I think during market hours it would be beneficial. But I don't usually sync Webull and my brokerage platform with TradingView. I usually trade separately. I just reference the chart and make my decisions through hotkeys. So that's just me. You can change these different notifications. A lot of this is self-explanatory, of course. Let's see. If you want to see the previous day close, this is hidden. You can put that on there as well, so it will actually put a line for the previous day's close. If you want to see the pre and post market lines and values, you can do that as well, and you can change the colors to those and which color you prefer it to be, and the highs and lows, you can change those as well, so if you prefer to have that. I do have the high on my chart. I'm trying to find that right now. The status line here is going to be this up top. So if you see this up top, this is that status line that you're seeing. So whatever information you want to see in the status line is going to be added right here. I've got the logo, the title, the open, high, low, and close values are all right here. You can see open, high, low, close values. That's going to be those values. And what that means, guys, is that's going to be, if I'm all the way to the right over here, then it's taking the values up here for the last posted candle. So if I zoom in here, and let me zoom in on the one chart for a minute. Again, Alt, Enter, you can blow it up. If I zoom in here, you'll see that this candle here is the last candle posted. And that's going to be the information that you see at the top. So for any time that you're in these this chart layout here, then what you can do is if you keep your mouse to the right-hand side, then each one of these tops are giving you the values for the most recent candle posted. So you'll see that they're going to be different. Up here, you're going to see 827 for the open, but now over here, you're going to see the open was 427, right? Because this is a daily chart taking from the daily candle, and this is a 1 minute chart taking from the 1 minute candle. So it's taking from the most recent candle posted. Each time frame is going to have these candles, and the candles are going to represent the time frame that you're looking at. So because this is a 1 minute chart that we're looking at here, Serve is going to have 1 minute candles. This is 1 minute candles. So each one of these candles represents 1 minute of data, of information. And that's really important to us, right? So we're looking at what kind of volume does it have, right? What kind of percentage up or down does it have? Things like that. So you can see that very easily. And if you hover over any one of these candles, you'll see that the values up here change. And that's because it is according to the candle that you're hovering over. So that's going to be for that. So to add, let's go over adding technical indicators here. So very simple, guys. We've got a list of technical indicators. I think most of you guys have access to this. But if you go into our tab up here at indicators, so if you click the indicators tab and you go to invite only, that's going to be your invite only. This is going to be our library of indicators that we build ourselves. These are all custom built here in-house. So this is going to be where I pretty much, I'm looking for my indicators here, and I'll add them as I go. But there is other indicators out there. There's indicators available, free indicators. If you go to the technicals, you're going to see a whole bunch of those free strategies, right? So you can check these out and see if they're worth having on your chart. One thing I will say is that, of course, having more indicators on my chart sometimes can get a little confusing. So of course, find your balance there. But you can find a whole bunch of options here in this this list. So you can even type at the top too. So say if you want relative strength index, you can do that. That's going to be the RSI. You can add this just by clicking, and that's going to add it to your chart. Now, you can go into the settings of any indicator. So most indicators will, if they're not down here below your chart, they'd be on your chart, and they'll be up here. We'll set one up here. So let's go to the 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro. I'll put that on there, which is really becoming one of my favorite, if not my favorite indicator that we have available. So I have this on the chart. Okay, we've got our 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro. It's giving us signals. It's giving us some information. What you're seeing up here is the indicator itself. You can hide that indicator by just doing this here, and you will hide the values of that indicator. If you have that open, you can see even the RSI is open, and you can see the values change as you hover over each candle. So again, if I'm all the way to the right, then the RSI values down here are going to show up according to that last candle. So what is the RSI for the last candle? It's 33, right? We know that, 33.45. The yellow line on here, I believe, is the SMA. I don't typically have that on mine. So RSI based MA, so moving average here. I don't use that myself. You can use that. I don't use it typically in my own trading, so I can turn that off. You can turn the settings off, and that's how you do that. So if you come in here, you can change settings into the RSI. Say you want to have this as a 7-day RSI, 7 close RSI. You can do that. You can do it to the highs, the close, whatever you prefer. Typically, I just leave it on the close there. So, and hit OK, and then we made adjustments to that RSI. So that's really a simple way to add these indicators to your chart. You just go in here and say you want the MACD on there, right? Type in MACD, come down to technicals, moving average, convergence, divergence. Okay, click that, and now we have it on our chart, right? You can shrink this to make it a little bit easier to see the chart, or if you want to see more of that, you can do that as well. So whatever you prefer. Now, another really cool thing, guys, is say for the, we'll turn the RSI back on here. So to take this off, just hit the little trash can next to it. We'll go back to the RSI. So relative, I'll type that, relative strength index, add that back on here, and we'll open this up, turn it back to the 7. And this is just manipulating the settings a little bit, turn off the RSI-based MA. And again, it's up to you. This is just how I would typically have mine. I don't use the RSI on my charts anymore, but I don't have any problem with it. I do like the RSI. What you can do is you can double click on the RSI down here. So you can double click on any one of these indicators, and you can blow that up. And it's just really cool because you can zoom out, and it looks like a whole bunch of squiggly lines, but you can actually start making lines on here as well for support levels. So you can hold Alt-H, and there you go, plotted a line, and Alt-H, and plotted a line. So even though that the typical oversold, overbought type of levels are 70 and 30, we can see that this particular stock, Serve, likes to actually dip down below this level here and dip just above this level here and reach that level. So 85 and 17, that's going to be the RSI levels. So even though it's, you know, a general rule of thumb that 30 and 70 are the values for oversold, overbought, that's not necessarily true, right? Each one of these tickers that we look at will have a different, approach here. So you can see that. And I'll just delete these back off. Double click, and then you hit reset. Just right click and hit reset, and there we go. We're back to normal. So I'll take this off the chart for now. Let's see what else. Customizing indicator settings. I've got a list here I made for myself, guys, just to make sure I don't forget anything. Drawing tools. That's a really good one, actually. So let me turn off this indicator here. We'll leave that off for now. Drawing tools. On the left-hand side, you'll see that we have a number of tools available to us. If you hit the little arrow next to it, you'll see a list that you can use from. So I used a horizontal line. You can see that there's some hotkeys that you can use to speed up the process. Alt-H is going to be your horizontal line. You can see that right there. And I think you can change these in the settings as well. Horizontal ray, you can do that as well. Alt-J. So Alt-J is a horizontal ray. And let's see what the difference is there. So I'll hold Alt-H and Alt-J. So you can see that Alt-H, the line goes all the way to the left and all the way to the right. Alt-J did not. It started from where I was and went right. So if I hit Alt-J again here, Alt-J, 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 you can see I'm plotting lines in here, and Alt-H, 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 right? You can do that. So this little trash can on the left-hand side will delete all of the any of the drawings or indicators that you have on your chart, depending on what you want to remove. I'll remove the drawings from now. We'll start fresh. So Alt-H is a good hotkey to learn and understand for quick horizontal lines. Now, on top of that, guys, you can adjust the line settings itself. So you can click on the line, and you can adjust the settings. You can adjust the color. Say you want a yellow line. Say you want a blue line. Whatever you prefer, that's up to you. You can do that. So for me, I keep it white, but, again, you can do whatever you prefer. This is going to be the line width. So if you prefer to have a smaller line, less, congested on the chart, you can do that. I like to have it big and bold because I'm getting older and it's not always easy to see, so I want to make sure that I'm not missing something. You can change the style to a dashed line, dotted line, whatever it may be, and then you can go into the settings here and do all this as well, same thing that we just did. You can go to the visibility here, and this is really cool. This is something that's cool for indicators as well, guys, and I'll go over this in just a second, but for the lines, you can change it. So say maybe you don't want to see this line on every chart, every time frame. This is a 1 minute time frame, so maybe you don't want to see it on a 1 minute time frame. You can change this to 2, and all of a sudden it disappears. But if we go to a 2 minute chart, you'll see it's right there. So you can change that if you prefer. I'll go back into the 2 and change this back to 1 and keep it normal. And you can change the coordinates. So if this isn't the exact price you want to put it as, you can actually come in here and type it. So you can just plop lines on here and then type in the price, levels that you want and that you prefer. You can save this as a template. So you can go ahead and save this as whatever you prefer. So if you have certain lines that you want to have that are going to be different than others, you can save it as a name, and you can pull that up really quickly. So you can plot this on here, and you can say, okay, I want to have this as a daily level. For me, if I put it as a daily level, then, well, it looks like nothing happens. So we'll have to save this as one of these. Let's save this as, let's say weekly, which we already have, weekly 2, and then you can save it. And then you should be able to pull that up and adjust this. So if I change this to, let's see, some colors here. Let me see if I change this to weekly 2, and there we go, it changes it right back. So you can see that. So if you start plotting something, but you want to make sure that you differentiate yours from different colors, you can do that. You can see over here I've got a label on it as well. So you have that label there, older level. But just going to delete this off the chart for now and go back to our 1-minute chart. Alt-J, again, Alt-J is going to be the different line there. So on the left-hand side, you can see Alt-J is going to be our horizontal ray. And that's going to start from wherever you start from. I've got mine as red and dotted, and you can change that. And whatever you change that as and leave it as, that's what's going to show up. So if I change this to, say, blue, then the next one I put should be blue. Okay, so blue, 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 right? We'll delete those again, and we'll start again with the top, Alt-J. You can change this to the style, and I like to, this is the same thing. So for me, guys, as you know, smaller time frame levels, typically I'll I want to see those levels, but I also don't hold those as a major weighted level for my trading. So typically I want to have those on the chart, but I want to make sure that I know that they're a little bit different. That's why I'll have it as a dotted line or change the color. So I'll go back to red for mine, and you can choose to do whatever you would like with yours. Trend lines are really cool too. You can do this as well. Trend line is going to be Alt-T. So Alt-T for trend lines. You can just click on the side here too. So you can actually select any one of these if you prefer. So select the trend line, and say you see a trend here from here, and you say, you know what, if it breaks that trend line, I'm looking for a possible trade. You can do that very easily, right? You can just do that. And you say there was a trend line here, right? You can say, okay, this looked like a pretty good trend line. Once we broke this, that was it. Resisted. Okay, we're not getting there. We need to break this trend line before we really get anything going, right? This was a really nice trend line. So if you plot the trend line off the first few retraces back down, then maybe you get yourself a nice little dip off of the trend line. I don't use the trend lines as often as some. I know some traders really like the trend lines. I don't really prefer to use them myself. As you guys know, I'm very strict to the strategy that I use. I found success without using the trend lines, and that's why I just stick to what works for me, guys. But that's how you can apply the trend line. So you can do the hotkey Alt-T, or you can just add the trend line by clicking any one of these. And you can do that for a horizontal line as well. So you can say horizontal line, horizontal line. You can click it after you have it set. You can just continue to click it. So if I had a trend line set, I could say, okay, I have a trend line here. This is that. And okay, this is that, right? You can do it like that if you prefer to. And we'll turn these off for now. So it's a really simple way to use the drawing tools. This and here, you're going to have the fib retracement tool. I don't use this myself. I'm not as familiar with using the fib retracement. I used to use it back in the day. It was a long, long time ago. I didn't find much success with it myself. I found that for me, it was just, again, another added feature on the chart, but you can add this to your chart as well, and you can do fib lines as well if you prefer to do so. There is a lot of information on the online that you can research, and there's a lot of books out there about that as well. I'm not saying anything against it, just don't use it myself. That's all. If we head on down, we're going to see the patterns at the bottom here. You can see that these are going to be different patterns. I'm not really sure about these guys. I don't use these myself. I've seen these for years, but I just never really use them. I don't care to see patterns. I don't think that, personally, I don't really feel like patterns are that responsive to our low float stocks. As you guys know, low float stocks, I'm telling you, have a complete mind of their own. They're not the same as everything else. They're not the same as Tesla. They're not the same as SPY. They're not the same as AMD and NVIDIA and things like that, and Apple. You know, they have a complete mind of their own. The way they move is going to be depending on volume, depending on their float size, depending on the short interest, depending on if it has breaking news or not, right? So for me, a lot of these patterns and things like that, they're I don't want to say useless, but for my style of trading, they're really useless because I just don't find any value in them myself. But that doesn't mean that there's no value to be found there. It just means that personal preference, I don't use them myself. Long position here. This is really cool. I like this, the long position. You can click on this here, and you can actually add this. And so say you get in on this chart, and say you want to give yourself a real good indication and idea of what you're trying to do. You can have a stop level here, and you can set this up. And you can see that this trade in particular is going to give you a risk to reward ratio of 9, which is really high. It's a really great risk to reward ratio. Now, you wouldn't, of course, know that's going to hit the top of this. That's not how it's going to work. But what this is doing is just simply adding the long position here, and you can do it for a short position as well. But long position, say you're looking to get in here, and you want to get up to say you want to get up to this level 750 right here, around 750 for your target, and you're willing to take maybe, I don't know, a 10-cent loss, right? A 10-cent stop loss there, or 15 cents we'll set. You can set that just like that. And now you guys can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see now, if you were entering over here and you gave yourself a stop loss of 15 cents, that's a 2.5% loss, or 2.25% loss on this trade. And that's not a very large loss, right, for the type of gain that you're looking to achieve. So this is a great way to really, understand if your trade idea is actually going to be profitable and if it's worth taking. Because of course we want to minimize the risk as much as possible and maximize the probability. And so if you're entering here, of course, we all need to have a stop level, an idea of where we want to stop. And a lot of times we have that level planned out. So if you put this long position on your chart, you can then better understand your risk to reward ratio, which I think is really cool. Let's see, short position, same thing. It's the opposite way, so you can do that as well. So it's going to be, this is going to be your stop loss at the top. That's the difference because you're looking to short it on the downside, right? So same idea. And you can change the colors too if you prefer. I just have it basic. I won't say that I use that a lot. I used to use that fairly often. I do like it. I don't use it much myself anymore. Here we've got some drawing tools here. We've got the brush, so you can click on that. You can draw all over the chart if you prefer, and do whatever you want to do. You can do that as well. I'll remove those. So this is a drawing tool. You can change the color as well. So if we do this, you can change the color and say, okay, well, I want to draw yellow, I want to draw white, I want to draw whatever you prefer. You can do that, right? So I'll get rid of these, remove these. Let's see what else we have here. The highlighter, you can highlight things as well. This looks a little bit like the opacity is a little bright. So if you wanted to say highlight something, you can do that. You can say, okay, this is, the area that I was looking for value here. This is what I want to show everyone. Okay, this is the highlighted area, right? You can do that. I don't use that much myself, but I can understand where some might use that. The arrow. I love the arrow myself, guys. The arrow, this one here is going to be this big old arrow in here. You can really just pinpoint areas. So this is more for doing demonstrations or even giving myself a heads up on where I'm looking to possibly get in, where I'm looking to get out, things like that. You can change the color of your arrow. You can change the size. You can move it around in your chart wherever you prefer. You can duplicate it. So you can come in here and you can say clone it, and you can have multiple arrows, clone it, and you can do it as well. And there's hotkeys for this as well. So that's one way of doing that. I'll remove those. So simple arrows. Arrow here, this is going to be a different type of arrow. So it's just going to be like that. So it's a little bit different. I don't use that one much myself. You've got the arrow markup. So this is going to be, say, if you want to have like an arrow just showing that this is the candle that I'm trying to go over, right? This is what's most important. We'll turn to white or whatever you prefer. Turn that off. What else do we have here? The rectangle. I like this one as well, guys. You'll notice that I use this pretty often. A lot of times when we see an entry, we'll box it out and we'll say, okay, this was the entry. This was that area. We want to focus on that information there because this is a really crucial, point of the chart, real critical part of the chart that we're, looking for entries. Now, you can change the color inside the box. So you can do it like this, and you can say, okay, this was our green zone. This is where I'm looking to take profit, and this is where I was looking to exit. So turn this as a red zone, and there you go. So you can see it as zones as well, which our indicators will automatically plot that for you. But if you want to do that, you can do that manually as well. Let's see. Path is pretty cool. This one's nice, guys, because you can keep this thing going as much as you want and say this and double click there. So what I was doing there is I'm just taking it and clicking the arrow. And once you click, it starts. And then you can select the next point. So here, go up, click again, there, go up. Click again there, and then maybe this is the area of interest, double click, and there you go. and now it's all set and done. So you can do that. I think that's pretty cool. I do use that often when I'm trying to do demonstrations, things like that, but more so for that. Circle here is great as well. If you don't want to have the rectangle, you can have a circle. You just click on the chart. You can expand it, shrink it, whatever you prefer. You can change the color. So say this is a a green area that you're looking for, a bullish area you're looking for a possible trade. There you go. You get a good indication of that. Now I'll do this again a lot of times for demonstrations to make sure that everyone is aware of the area of value. We have an ellipse, which is cool. Choose 2 points, expand it. Same thing as a circle, but you can have it as an oval. You can have it as whatever you want, and I think that's pretty cool as well. Same thing, you can fill in the inside with this little paint bucket here and do whatever you prefer. We'll get rid of that. Let's see what else. I don't really use the rest of these guys. I don't use the triangle, the arc, things like that. I guess you could find some use for them, but I don't use them. Text. So the T is going to be for text. So if I want to throw something on the chart and say, excuse me, if I want to say this is a low float stock, right? You can do that. And there you go. And now I have that there. A lot of times what you'll see is I'll put half and whole. So for serve, actually, this is a really good example. Serve was half and whole dollar above our key levels. So we had our key levels up to, I forget what the last key level was. I'll have to check our confirmation levels. But I believe it's half and whole. At this point now, it needs to get over 950. It's going to be right around here. So we'll put a line at 950, right? Alt-H. All right. And then we'll change this to, say, half and whole, because for me, I don't think I have any more levels until I think it's like 170% or something like that, or whatever it may be. It's a lot, a very large gap here. So whenever we have a large gap, what I'll do is I'll put half and whole. Now you can type that out and then save it. I have mine saved. So if we go to the templates, you'll see half and whole. Click on that, and there we go. It changes it to half and whole. Saves me some time, guys. Again, if I'm trying to keep in mind to myself, so when I pull this chart up, I can say, okay, it's half and whole dollar, which means I'm looking at half dollar and whole dollar as resistance and as well as support. So every time we close over, I want to hold, right? So half and whole. You can change this to say major reds are spotted. I've got a list here as well, so we can say, okay, there's major red spotted here. You can put a note there. You can change this to anything you prefer. Bullish vertical trend, that's a red flag that we have there. So you can preset these. So after you set this, you can do whatever you want. So I'll take this off, put this on the chart, and say new signal. We'll put, right? And then we can have this anywhere on the chart. You can change the font size. You can change the background color. You can change the text color as well. And there's a lot of things you can do with that. But it's just adding text onto your chart. So very simple. I'll delete this off our chart. What else do we have? Anchor text. I don't use that myself. A note. I don't use this. The call out, I'll use that once in a while. I do like the call out because you can select an area and then pull it up and say something like this is a confirmed bullish, right? It just confirmed our bullish level, but then it failed right here, right? So we can put this and we can say, I don't know if I have, confirm bearish there. So, and if I zoom in, I'll take this on the right, left-hand side, zoom in again. Zoom in like this. There we go. And now you can see that these are just letting us know that this was confirmed bullish. Okay, we can get in. Okay, this is now bearish. We can no longer get in, and we want to avoid this because it's below our key level, and then it fades off. So you can add these labels on here very easily there. That's going to be under this. We've got price label as well. So if you want a certain price to be mapped out, if you say, okay, this is a very, a very interesting level here, you can add that. You can add this to a larger price level, and I'll do that just for the sake of this video. But 955, okay, now we know that this is 955. So if I want to have that on my line, even though it says it on the right-hand side and I don't have the price scale blown up, if I want to be well aware of that level, I can do so just by doing that. Now, you can also click on this and you can change the price. So say it's a certain price that you want to see. Maybe it's, 955. You can do that. Hit OK, and it will adjust it for you and put it up for you. And same with the line, too, guys. If you want to do that with the line, you can go to 955, hit OK, and there you go. Just like that. So I'll get rid of that as well. Let's see, what else do we have here? Price note, don't use that much. Signpost, don't use this. Flag mark, don't use that. Image, you can add an image if you prefer. You can add any image to your chart, which is pretty cool. And the idea, I don't use that as well. So here we've got icons, which are basically just emojis on the chart. So if you want to add something on here, you know, like something like this here, you can say, okay, that was a target hit, right? It's a little gaudy, I would say, a little weird, right? But sometimes, you know, it gets the point across. Sometimes it makes it easier just to understand and see, and sometimes it's fun to have that on your chart. And you know, day trading is supposed to be a good time, right? It's a lot of work, but it's supposed to be fun. It's something it's better than, you know, a lot of jobs out there, even though it can be very stressful and you know, it is strenuous. You know, it's good to have it, you know, lighthearted at times as well. So icons here, you can see a bunch of these. If you want to add a little wizard on here, I think we have this one for Natty. I'm not sure if Natty's in chat or not yet. I'll check in a second, but hopefully she's doing all right. But Natty, we'll have the dancer here, as Natty typically would put in chat. So that's Natty's alert there, right? So these are just icons, guys. You can switch from these up top. There's basically just look at them like emojis, right? They're just emojis that you can use on your chart for all different things and whatever. If you want to add a red flag, you can do that as well and say, yeah, this is a red flag. You want to be careful there, right? This is a red flag. I don't use that too often, as you guys know. The measuring tool is really cool. I like the measuring tool. You can click it and then click anywhere in your chart and measure the move. So if I got in here and I got out here, I can say, okay, well, I made just roughly about 17%, $1.43 per share. That's pretty awesome, right? You can also see that the volume is there and how many bars that you have in your measuring here. So if I say, okay, I want to see what was the volume in this area here, you can measure that. You can say, okay, here to here, it's candle to candle, and it says it had 494,000 shares traded between these 21 bars, which are 21 minutes worth of data, right? So really simple. You can go down, up, whatever, so you can see the negative percentage or gain percentage. If you want to see a candle, you can say, okay, what was this candle here? And I measured that the wrong way. It's a red candle, so we'll measure it down like this. And say, okay, well, this candle went down about 2.8%. And if I hover over it, it should be accurate at the top here. And it's about 3%. So I'm a little off there. So let me see if I get that a little closer. Well, I've got 2.8%, but it's showing me 3%. So maybe it's pulling back from the whole top of that. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's pulling up the whole candle. But anyway, guys, you can use the measuring tool here to measure out things. I use this pretty often, actually. I like that, especially if you're trying to measure from level to level. So say, you know, I've got another line in here and say, I'm getting in here, I want to sell here. You can predetermine and say, okay, we are looking at about 16% of a gap on this trade. So again, if I'm looking to set my long position, I can say I can set it here, and I can and I think this is a short position. Change this back to long right there, guys. Click this on the chart wherever you want to get in, pull it over, pull it up to there. Stop loss is going to be below this candle that you get in, right? Below this candle. And you've got a stop loss of 33 cents, but you end up have a target of $1.30, and you end up getting yourself a 15% trade. And this is almost a four even ratio of risk to reward, which is, again, a very good risk to reward ratio. So I'll delete that off my chart. Let's see, the zoom in, zoom out. You guys know this one. If you just click on your chart, drag it, you can zoom in on any area. So if you're looking at a specific area, you can do so. And then you have the zoom out, which you just click it, and there you go. You're back to square one. Magnet tool. I have the magnet off, guys. I have this one off right now, I believe. So I don't have this turned on. The magnet is going to basically attach things to your chart here. So if you have the magnet on, let me delete this off. If I have the magnet on, I hover over this red candle here and then hit Alt-H. I'll do it all the way up here and hit Alt-H. Look how it adds it to the top of that candle. So this was really important when we were manually marking our charts, and I think for anyone who is manually marking your chart, this can be a really helpful tool. It allows you to really quickly add it to that level. So if you're looking to mark the highs of each one of these candles, it's really easy. You turn the magnet on and hover over each candle, Alt-H. Even though I'm up here, you can see that it's marking the candle that I'm hovering over. So you see that, Alt-H, 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 right? So you can do that really easily. I like that. I think the magnet's great if you're manually marking charts. Typically, I'm not myself anymore. We do have our auto plot that will plot the support and resistance for us now. Stay in drawing mode. I don't use that. Lock all drawings. You can lock your drawings on the chart if you prefer. I don't use that much. You can hide your indicators. So say we have a bunch of indicators on here. If I go ahead and just add a few of these, right? We come in here. We have this. We have this. We have this. We have this. Right? Just add them all to your chart. And you want to turn this off, you can hit this right here on the side. Boop. and it's off. Everything's off. So we'll still see the values up here, but you can turn that off and on just by doing that. We'll get rid of these for the moment. So I'll turn these back on, hit the remove indicators. Well, there we go. They're all off our chart. That's pretty much it. New drawings will sync in layout. Yes, that is what we want. So this will sync in each one of the layouts. That means if I hit Alt Enter, I come in here and I put a line on this chart. It should show up on these other charts as well. That's what that's saying. So if I put a chart or a line here, Alt H, look how it shows up on these other lines, which is really cool. So you can mark it on different time frames, right? That's why I love this multi-time frame as well. So say you maybe the 1 minute chart isn't where you want to draw your trend line. Maybe on a 10-minute chart you want to draw your trend line, right? Maybe on the 10-minute chart you're more comfortable drawing that trend line. Well, there you go. And now anything below that trend line is going to be bearish, and you can see that it tested that level multiple times and then broke right here. So maybe once we broke here on the 1 minute chart, maybe this is a good area to possibly go short, right? So it gives you some good technical analysis there that you can use in your your advantage. You can also mark, say on the 10-minute chart here, you want to mark certain levels that look like they're going to be levels of interest. Alt H right here looks like a little shelf there. Alt H, another shelf there, maybe even here, and then we can put one right there as well. So now we can use those that we marked on a 10-minute chart, and we can look at those on our 1 minute chart, right, or our 5-minute chart, right? So you can use other time frames to mark your charts and add some extra technical analysis that sometimes can be really helpful. I'll delete that off the chart, so that's just going to hide those and turn them on and off. So that's pretty much it for the settings. That's it for the drawing tools. Let me see what else I have here that I want to make sure I go over first. And then we'll open it up for questions if you guys have questions and dive into it a little bit. I want to go over our indicators for a second too. Managing and creating alerts is very important as well, guys. So let me go ahead and hit this. Alt, Enter again. So if I come in here and I hit Alt H and put that line, and say we're watching serve, but the way we look at it is, serve, if you're trading confirmation, we need to see it over this level, right? We want to see it over that level. So say this is our key level. That's our key level. I'll tag this here. 970 is our key level, and we'll put a call out here, and we'll put this as our key level tag. Key tag. That's our key level, right? All right, there we go. So we know this is our key level. So we want to set alerts. And I always say this, guys. We always say this in chat. Be sure to set your alerts below key levels. It's so important, right? Set your alerts below the key levels to better assess your conditions. What we're saying there is, not all trades are the same. Look at this. If we're gapping up to this level and we've got all these green bars in a row, well, this is going to be a lower quality close over that level than a higher quality. Higher quality, of course, is going to have all conditions met. So our red flags will not be presented. So we don't want to see a bullish vertical trend. We don't want to see a cluster of resistance. We don't want to see, certain things. So as long as we don't see those, we're good to go. But we need to give ourselves time to be able to assess those conditions before we enter the trade. So that's why, even though the level's 970, I wouldn't recommend just, sitting here and saying, add, right click and add alert and say, I want this right at 970, right? Because if we do that, you'll see if I hit OK, it will add it to the chart. It's hard to see it there. You can see I'm moving it around here. I'll do it just below. So you can see that now this is our alert here. Serve crossing 967, and it will give me the alert. Now, I like to have that right at the level because I want to be notified and understand that that is the key level that I'm looking at today. But we always say set your alerts below key levels to better assess conditions. That way you can really adjust your size based on what you see. So instead of this alert being at, right at the level like that, you can have it down here and start watching, right? It gives you some time. If we get above 950 and you know that the level is 970 that we're looking for, well, if we cross over 950, you can start watching and start assessing those conditions and start to see if it's going to be your trade or not in your setup. So really important, guys, adding those alerts. You can go into the alert as well, and you can change the notifications. You can change different things about this. You can change if it's crossing up, crossing down. So you can say only give me the alert if the price is crossing up this here. So you don't really care to hear it if it's crossing back down, right? You just want to see if it's crossing up, or if it's greater than that line, or if it's, there's different things here. Moving up percentage. So you can change that. So moving up percentage, you can change the percentage here. You can say that it crossed that line or it's moving up above that line with a certain percentage, right? And so many bars. So you can do that. Now, typically I just leave it as crossing. I keep it very simple. And it is an extended hours as well. Now, I have mine set to only once. You can set this to every time. And you can set a message, a custom message as well. You can even name your alerts. You can say this is the key level, right? So you can say this is the key level. And you can say that, major key level being tested. You can put that, right? You can put that right on the chart. So I can hit that, hit OK, hit save. And now we can see that this is now a key level, right? That's going to be our key level. You can add multiple alerts here. Just right click, add the alert. And there you go. You can add these, right? So hit OK, create. Now I have 2 alerts on here. And I like to do that, guys. I like to have at least 2 or 3 alerts right below our key level. I like to have it right at the key level, and I like to have it right below the key level. And again, this is just so I can better assess conditions, because I don't feel like all trades are the same. I don't feel like all trades merit the same size. I don't think that's the case. I'm not one of those traders that says, man, I trade 10,000, 10,000 shares every single time. Not happening, guys. It really depends on the situation that we have, depends on the conditions that we have. So I want to be able to assess those conditions, and I don't want to, get the alert up here at 970 as it's closing over, and I'm scrambling, and I'm like, let's take the trade, let's go 5,000 shares in. Then before you know it, it's got a bullish vertical trend, it's a red flag, and it pulls back, knifes on me, and I'm end up taking a hefty loss. I oversize because of the conditions, not being able to assess those. So you can exit these back off. I'll turn these off for now. So setting alerts is really simple and a really great way, guys. I highly recommend it because that's going to save you time. I don't want to be glued to this chart all day long. I see traders in chats from 4 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night, guys. I don't know how it's done. I don't know how they do it, but it doesn't leave you much of a life. It doesn't leave you much of a life to live, right? The point of getting into day trading for myself and trading in general was to get out of construction. I used to be in construction. I used to leave and work away from home often. I didn't get to see my kids as much as I wanted to. Yes, it was good money. It was this, that, and the other thing, but it was strenuous, hard labor type of work. So I wanted to find something that I could do from home that was going to really benefit me. And that's where I, stumbled upon day trading and swing trading and even long trading, and that's where I found the bulk of my success in day trading. So, just assessing these key levels is key. Having these charts up is key, but being glued to the chart all day long is not for me, guys. So I'm not going to say, and I've done that in the past. I'm not faulting anyone for doing that. I've done this plenty. I think that's something that we all do. How many times have we, sat there and been like, Serve's got to get above this level, and it just keeps gapping down. I mean, it's at 821 right now. I mean, it's going to go down possibly to $4. And we're going to sit there being like, well, if it gets over 970. Well, if you're glued to this one screen, this one chart, and watching it go down, waiting for it to get over your level, you may miss out on an opportunity elsewhere. So to be able to navigate through the market and the quick changes that happen, you got to be able to be pretty quick with your assessment as well. So set your alerts below key levels, and don't be glued to that chart. Those alerts, for TradingView, you can have that sent to your phone as well. So let me put this here. You can have this sent to your phone. So you can have this sent to an email. You can have this sent to your phone, which is really cool because so that's notifying the app. That's how I get it on my phone. So mobile app. So I have this on my phone as well. You can put in send an email if you prefer. If you check your emails that often, I don't do it myself. You can play a sound if you want to, and you can send as plain text as well to an alternative email. So you can do that as well. Some of these are new. I don't use those as much myself, but play around with this. You can get the notification however you prefer, but you can get a sound alert on it. You can get a lot of stuff there where it's going to save you time and energy. You don't want to be glued to the chart for too long. I think we covered pretty much the bulk of what I want to do here. We can do, as you guys know, this is, having the one chart is pretty common. Having multiple charts is going to be a little bit more advanced for some. You could sit in here and you could have, you could have a lot of charts set up. You could have multiple charts set up like this, where, you have all of these different charts. You can come in here and change the sync limbo, the symbol, excuse me. Change the symbol and sync there, and you can now change this to, say, TRNR, serve, Tesla on this screen. Let's see, we want to have SPY up on a screen, maybe AMD, and maybe there's another, another ticker that we're watching, Hollow, or whatever. Anything comes to mind, I guess. So you can have multiple charts here. You can change the time frames. If it's not in sync like that, you can change the time frames as well. So you can have all of these 1 minute charts. So I could have, all 6 of these charts as 1 minute charts, all separate tickers. That way I can see my setups if need be. And of course, if any one of them gives me a setup, of course I don't need to trade on such small charts. I like to have mine as big as possible. So just Alt Enter, and you can blow up each chart to really start to assess which one is going to give you the best setup. So Tesla, Serve, you can switch through each one of these. You can see pretty easily move around. Just by moving the chart, you just grab it. You just hit it with the hold your key down, or excuse me, hold your mouse down, and just drag it around if you want to. So I'll go back to the 4-square layout. I like the 4-square layout. I think it's enough for me. It's clean. That's what I typically use over here. As you guys can see here, I've got the half and whole dollar marked up here as well, letting you know that that's what we have. Another cool feature, guys, that we don't go over too often. I'll type in serve again here. Say, you have some technical analysis that you want to, you didn't have time to trade serve, but you want to practice on this chart, right? They've got this replay feature here in TradingView. You can click on this, and you can select anywhere where you want to replay on this chart. So I can click there, and now it's going to start from basically pre-market. So if you want to test your analysis, if you want to test your trading ability in live and real time, you can do that, right? You can change this to the replay speed. So we'll do this to just 1 time, hit play. And now what's going to happen is you'll see that these candles are now going. So this is just an automatic replay of the price action and the volume there. So you can now see this and see, what was here. What did you see anything different? Were you able to trade this real time? Because a lot of it's fast paced. We want to make sure that you are able to make real time decisions, pretty quickly. So replay here is going to be a really cool function to really test out your analysis. You can speed up the time here. So do it 3 times. So you can see this, and it just makes it really easy for you to be able to replay the whole day. So say you weren't able to trade on serve yesterday and you wanted to, break it down and see if you would be able to trade it. Basically, like I said, practice makes perfect, right, guys? There's nothing like experience in this market. Well, you can practice this and really see if it works for you. Let me do something here. We'll exit out of that. And let me turn on our 1-minute Bullish Pivot Pro. So I'll type this, let's see, right here, the 1-minute Bullish Pivot Pro, add this. And again, this is very, very quickly becoming my favorite indicator. If I zoom in, again, we'll start from the pre-market session. So I want to see during the pre-market session, where was it bullish? Where was it bearish? Did our pivot signals give us anything that was worth trading? And would I be able to take that trade? So I'll hit play here. We'll start it. You can see the pivot signal over here failed but got back above. Once it gets back above the pivot zone, very simple strategy, guys. Above the pivot zone is bullish, below is bearish, right? Okay, we're dipping here. We're dipping. All right, we're watching this. Okay, we're getting a pivot watch alert. Not yet, not quite. There's one there. We're starting to watch for entry. There's one there. Failed. There's one there. Confirmed. Okay, let me pause this for just a second. So what this is saying to us in real time, or in this replay here, is that we got this pivot watch alert here. We got the break of structure bullish signal right there, right? But it failed, and this is where I'd exit my position. Well, we got another pivot watch signal here. We got our break of structure here. We got our new pivot zone. This is our new area of interest. So again, if I'm getting in here, you can very easily select this on your chart and say, okay, I'm getting in on this candle, and I will take a stop if we fall below this candle, below this last candle that I got in and where the pivot watch came in. So if my stop is just below that, there's a 2% stop. And of course, I can use multiple ways of taking profit. Depends on how you like to take your profit. But you can see that the flow zone changed here as well. So I'll move this over a little bit. You can see that the red flow zone turned green, the bluish green there, letting us know that, okay, the flow zone is bullish. We're above our pivot zone. We got our pivot watch and our break of structure. There's so many things here, right here, telling us, this is bullish. This is a really great entry, right? And, of course, it gives us a good indication of a strategy as well, because there is no strategy that will work 100% of the time. So, when we get in here, we have to have a contingent plan in case it goes against us. Well, our contingent plan was our stop loss is set below our pivot zone, and our entry is anything above the pivot zone. And if we dip into the pivot zone, we can add. But as soon as we start to come under the pivot zone, well, that's it. We have to cut the position. We don't hold on to bag holders, right? This thing continued. We'll go ahead and hit play here, and we all know what happened here in serve. There it goes, spiking up, spiking up, spiking up. So our pivot alert was 393. Our breakup structure was right there. And now all of a sudden, you know, we're all the way up at the top here. And let me hit pause here for a second. This is a good example as well. This was a pivot watch alert after this giant move that this had, this massive, bullish move. And here's our pivot watch alert. Here's our breakup structure. We can buy into this, but if it closes below or starts to come under, that's bearish. We exit. Well, we're exiting the position. Now, we're looking for it to get above this pivot zone before we even trade this any longer, right? Because if it's below the most recent pivot zone, then technically we consider this to be bearish, right? So until we get back above that pivot zone, I'm not really concerned with the price action. I'll just leave it alone, right? We'll just leave it be. Hit play here. And all of a sudden you can see, oh, look at that. We're back above the pivot zone. Now, we're not getting a breakup structure bullish signal here. We only have the 1 and 2 alerts here on each one of these. We don't want to overdo it with alerts, but we do want you guys to be able to use your own visuals here and understand that it's a very simple strategy. Close above the pivot zone is bullish. This is our close above the pivot zone. And if you didn't take that one, this is a close above. And as you can see, the flow zone is now bullish as well. So we have 2 signals here saying that the sentiment on serve is now back to bullish. And of course, if you get in here in any one of these pivot zones, you can either use below the pivot zone as your stop, or as it gaps up, you can use the flow zone as well. So it's really up to you. We'll hit play here and see what it does. We tested the flow zone, held, test the flow zone, held. Okay, we're testing flow zone and failed. So maybe I take profit there and look for our next pivot. So either way, guys, you can see very simply, and this is, now we're back above that pivot zone. So, and now we're back, the flow zone here. There's our pivot watch. Same idea here, guys. This is the same exact idea. This one had a pivot watch in our zone. We closed above it on this candle, just barely, but we failed on this candle. That would be a stop loss for me. I would get stopped out. Of course, if you're getting in here, stop would be set just below our pivot zone, stopped out at around $6. Okay, I'm comfortable with getting back out. Whoa, look, we got back over. Okay, I can get back in. Same idea, needs to hold our pivot zone. It did, and then it continues, right? So very simple. That's our 1 minute bullish pivot pro. And you can see that the first alert was all the way down here. So at this point, at some point this does need to break. At some point it does need to fail, guys, because no stock is just going to keep going and going and going and going, right? So at some point it will fail and start to break down, but this is going to be our best alert because this was beginning of our trading hours and day. And you can see serve was great. And you can see all of these breakup structures were going to be different times. You can see we have one at 429, nice move, 427, small move up, and then 393, beautiful move from there. And now we're starting to come back down and retrace a little bit. Now, I will pause this for a second. And actually, we'll turn this off for now. I think we're good with the replay anyway. You guys, I think, get that. So the replay is great, guys. If you missed out on the opportunities, if you weren't able to take trades that day, you can change that. One thing I want to say in the settings of our 1 minute bullish pivot pro, or any indicator for that matter, these values on the side can be annoying at times. Double click on the indicator to open up the settings. Go to visibility. And let's go to style, actually. Go to style. And all the way at the bottom, labels on price scale, which is this over here. I want to turn that off. Okay, look at that. It's cleaner. And now values in the status line. That's going to be these values here. Watch as I turn this off. And there we go. Hit OK. And look at that. Now it's less congested. We don't have all those values kind of flashing around and being distracting. Another thing you can do, of course, is add the go to the inputs and add the extreme zones and our flow zone alerts. But this is going to be a different scope. This is not the scope of this video. That's going to add these different pivot zones, extreme pivot zones, and extreme resistance pivot zones as well. So that is it for that. Let me see what else I have here before we open it up. That's about it. If you guys want to, download these or share this, say you want to share this in chat, you can take a picture of this. You can say download the image. You can copy the image. You can copy the link, whatever you want. If you want to tweet it, you can do that as well. Say copy the image, and then I'll hop over into our Discord and go ahead and plot that into our Discord. You guys can see that now. That exact image that we're seeing on the screen is what you're seeing in the chat as well. So guys, I think that's about it. Let me see if you guys have any questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out here in chat. We'll go over it together. But I think that's about it. Just wanted to give a quick rundown on Tradingview and how I use it. Really easily how you add the indicators to your chart. You just click them and they'll add it to your chart. You can delete them up here just by hitting the trash can. You can shrink this if you don't want to see a bunch of indicators. Hit that little arrow and you don't have to see those. You can get them off the chart. You don't want to see those values. You can turn those off as well. So really, really simple stuff. Hey, good morning. Paris, did that, by any chance, did that answer your question on the four-square layout? Or do you have any questions, Paris? Excuse me. Actually, Paris is no longer in the live stream. So hopefully I answered Paris's question. Guys, do you have any questions on this one? Let's see. And forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Aranda Hadi, is that right? Aranda Hadi? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right or not, but let me know. Oh, awesome, Jax. It's my pleasure. I appreciate you being here, by the way, guys. Thank you all for being here today and joining in. And like I said, if you weren't able to attend the full class, don't worry about it, guys. I will be sending out the recording to you this weekend as well. And if not this weekend, sometime the early parts of this week. Typically, I get it out within a few days after each recording. What do you use in TradingView when using indicators? Bill, what do you mean by that? For indicators? What indicators do I use? I mean, on mobile without being in the TV app. Yes. It should, Bill. If you have it set in your on the app to send alerts and where it can basically send alerts to your phone, you should get notifications on your phone as well. Yeah, I get them all the time. I've got the app on my phone, the TradingView app, and it's really cool actually. You can use the indicators on the app as well. Of course, for me, I don't trade on my phone, but I know some traders will do that as well. You can use all of this technical analysis, all of our indicators right on the phone as well. It will work just fine. Bill, the only thing, that's a good question, actually. The only thing that I do change is if you right-click on the price scale. So if you're going to add the confirmation, support, and resistance levels, right? 1, 2, 3, just like that. Click on those. I should add it to your chart. And let's make sure that they're all here. Yes, they are. All right. I'm going to get rid of the 1 minute bullish. Well, we'll leave that on for now. So Bill, you see the lines and levels that I have here. In order for this to look correct, guys, you have to right-click on the price scale and do scale to price chart only. So that's the only change that I make myself, Bill. Is just right-click on here, and you're going to see scale price chart only. That's the only issue we had with the support and resistance indicators. For whatever reason, if you don't have that on there, it gets all crazy on you. But really, that's the only setting that I change. I don't think I change anything else myself. Does that answer the question, Bill? Or am I not understanding correctly? And let me know, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out. Yeah. Let's see. And like I said, I may just completely butcher the name. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but Aaron Hadi, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But did you see how I turned off the values at the top? So if you double click on your indicator, I know you were asking this, I think last night as well. The indicators or the values on the top, go to your indicator and double click on it. So go to the 1 minute bullish pivot pro or whatever indicator you're on, double click on it, go to the style and go all the way to the bottom. You're going to see labels on price scale and values and status line. Turn those off. It makes it easier to see. Those are not as important to me. So I'll turn those off. If you have those on, you're going to see more labels on the price scale, and you're going to see these numbers up here. So if I hit OK, you'll see what I'm talking about, these values up here. I don't want to see these values. These values are going to be values for different points of interest here, but they're not important to what I'm doing. So I double-click on it, go to Style. Instead of inputs, go over to Style, go all the way to the bottom. Labels on price scale, turn that off, and values and status line, turn that off as well. And you can save this. Whenever you guys make adjustments to this, so say you come in here and you have something that you changed your indicator around and you want to have it specifically, every time you load it up, you want it to be like that, just go into your default and just save it as a default. So you can hit save as default, and it will just load it up like that, and you can go reset to reset the settings as well. So hit OK, and this is how I have mine, though. Awesome, Bill. Happy to help. Yeah, Jax, personally I think it's great to have the alert sent to the phone. Like I said, guys, I don't understand why we see traders from 4 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night, and they're insisting that they're profitable. Maybe they are profitable, but I'm telling you guys, to be there from 4 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night, trading and talking over and over and over, it doesn't leave you much time for an actual life outside of trading. And I have to say, guys, I didn't get into trading so I could sit there and trade all day. I got into trading for financial freedom to have more time spent with family and be able to do things that I love doing. And, it's allowed me to do that. But, that freedom is only going to come because we're not glued to the chart. So having those alerts sent to our phone, I could be downstairs spending time with my wife and kids. And then before you know it, I'll get an alert on my phone that says, this stock is giving us a pivot watch alert. And I'll say, I'll be right back. I got to go check this out, whatever. And that way I don't have to sit there all day long, because I've done it in the past, guys. I have been that person. Let me delete this off the chart for now. But I've been that person where, how many times have you seen a stock gap up and then just fade off all day long? And I was like, man, I'm going to get that reversal. I'm going to get that reversal. I'm going to get that. So every time it showed any signs of reversal, I'd take a small trade. It wouldn't work out. Loss. Okay, it's still going down, waiting for a reversal again. You don't have to do that, guys. You just set alerts. That's, don't have to be in the high side. You can say maybe down here as a level of interest, you just hit create, and there we go. It's that simple. Now I have an alert. If it crosses this line down here, it's going to send me that alert on Tradingview, but also to my phone, and if I want, to my email as well. So there's multiple ways to get that alert. That's going to help you out. I'll exit that out. But that's about it, guys. This is a quick rundown on Tradingview. I love Tradingview. I love it. I love Tradingview. I think it's the best charting platform out there. There's a lot of tools that we use, but there's a lot of tools that I don't use. Here's another thing that's really cool, guys. You can change the chart. So say, on serve, maybe you want to have a different type of analysis. Yeah, you could mark your levels on this or whatever you want to do, but maybe you want to change it from, instead of candles, maybe you want to change it to, I like the line sometimes, the line here. So change it to the line. The line sometimes makes it easier to be able to see these levels of interest, right? Sometimes it's easier to sit here and say, okay, well, maybe this is a good level of interest here. We've touched it multiple times. We have this point here. So if I come in here and hit Alt-H, you can see now that we've touched it here. Maybe this is a good level of interest. So if we're above, great, get in. If we're below, okay, get out. So, you guys know how I trade. I really love to trade with that support and resistance. I really love to trade with our pivot zones. The reason for it, it's a very, very simple strategy. It allows me to know exactly where I want to get in and exactly where I need to get out in case it goes against me. And of course, I'm taking profit wherever I see the profit and I'm comfortable. Now, where you're taking profit is really going to come down to you. So everyone's going to be different. And I'll change this back over to our candles here. So when it comes to taking profit, that's going to come down to you. You can use the flow zone. You can use our bearish signals. You can use the bullish vertical trend. You can use whatever you prefer. For myself, oftentimes I'm using the support and resistance level. So if at this point we're looking at half and whole dollar and serve, right? So we're looking at, let's see, 950 here. There's 950. There's 10. Here's 1050. And you can see this is very easy to do here in Tradingview. There we go, just like that. So if I'm trading this, right, I can get in if we close over this level, and I have to get out if it closes below that level. And my target would be the level above, $10. So it's a really simple approach and really easy to understand it. That, guys, I'm telling you, for low float trading, there's so much going on. So to have it overly complex, it's not really beneficial for me. For me, it's best if I simplify things. It's always worked for me. I'm a very simple type of person. So, I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to BS you guys. It's very, very simple. Close above my level, I can get in. I can add into dips of my level. And anything below my level is where my stop loss will be. And so it's a really simple approach. But I think that's about it, guys. Do you have any questions before I get going here? I'll get going and then tackle some chores around the house before I start diving into code. I'm going to work on some videos this weekend as well as some code for there'll be some updates for our indicators, by the way, guys. And like I said, my favorite layout for me is going to be if I go into the indicators, invite only. Let's go to the 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro right there. That is very quickly becoming my favorite indicator. I love the BB volume major red vertical trend spotter. We're going to adjust this one, but I love it. It's very simple. Same idea. I'll show you something here. And then, of course, I cannot live without my support and resistance. I'll put that on my chart, and we're good to go. And then, of course, I do like the dynamic all at the bottom. We've got dynamic price signals version 3. That's my they're neck and neck. The 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro and that one are very neck and neck. One thing that you're not seeing is the candles are not adjusting here. So what you have to do is go to the top. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me delete the lines off of the chart at the top. So up here at the top, you can see if I click on the bullish, the BB volume indicator, you'll see that the candles will change. Watch. Click on that and they'll change. And if I click off, they're not changing. Make sure that these are layered on top. So go to the right, 3 dots, visual order, bring to front, and there we go. Now I don't have to do anything. Now they're going to stay like that. And so that's going to let me know that if we have yellow candles in the pre-market session, that's my minimum for taking the trade. And if we have white candles regular market session, that's my minimum for taking the trade regular market session as well. You guys can see that the dynamic price signals here. We've got the keynotes. I am very used to this, guys. I've built this. Of course, I'm very used to it. So these recent these notes that we have here are not going to be something that that I need to have. So if you double click on this or anywhere on that, you can change this. I'm going to change the pivot zone, and we've got a video out about this, so I don't really need to go too deep into this because we do have my most recent video going over my best chart layout is exactly this. But just a quick rundown. For me, the keynotes, I don't have the keynotes on, but that's only because I know them. If you're new to trading or new to this strategy, I would recommend having those on there. I'll turn them off for now. One thing I'll say, though, is if you take this and you want to move this from the top right and move it to the bottom left, which I have mine typically, so move this label here to the bottom left, our checklist, you'll see it disappears. That's because for some reason this is overlapping. I'm not sure why the code does that. I need to look into that and fix it. But if you change the note label position to top right, you'll see that they both appear again. So top right and notes, and there's our checklist. I don't need the notes, so I'm going to turn that off for now. There we go. And hit OK. And now this is our checklist. Of course, if you guys are not familiar with this is going to be our confirmation checklist. Very simple. It's going to notify us if this is continuation watch or if this is a bounce watch. If it's a bounce watch and we're expecting choppy price action, then we want to be careful. Make adjustments to the size that we're trading or avoid because that will not qualify as confirmation. If we're looking for confirmation, which is my best go-to strategy, then I don't want to see these gray boxes here. I want to see this in red. Or excuse me, I want to see this in white. And you can change the colors too. So if you want to see the bullish colors in green, you can do that. If you want to see the bearish colors in, say, whatever color will show up easiest for you, you can do that as well. You can see that right there. So this is basically notifying me that, hey, you know, if you're getting in, just be careful. This is not near its recent high. Recent high is 977. That's it for today's lesson, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and thank everyone for joining our class. We do have a class bi-weekly, so we'll have another class in a couple weeks, and just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. If you found any value in today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the Discord.